Hi, it's Mike again. I want to take a minute and talk to you about rotary tooling and the bearings on rotary tooling and what we see coming in. We get a lot of knives in for sharpening and we see a couple of things. One, the bearings look like they spun in your bearing housing, and it could be for a few reasons. Your bearing housings need to be reworked or replaced, or the bearing's old, got dirty, somebody tried to clean it. You can't clean a bearing with oil. Don't do that. It'll just force the dirt into the bearing. So pretty much once a bearing's on, leave it alone. You're better off. Or they replaced them and didn't know how to put a new bearing on. So we're going to go over a little of all of that. First thing, on a bearing like this is what they call a C2 bearing. On any of your rotary tooling, from us at least, they all have C2 bearings. And that's the clearance between the inner race and outer race. C3 is a normal bearing. C2 is more of a precision bearing. And the clearance between the inner and the outer race is about 0.2 of a thousand. So take a hair, divide it by 15, and that's what the clearance is. Now that clearance, which is important, is as it is right now. So a bearing like this is spec'd at about a 1 to 2/10 press fit. You don't want any more than that, because if you do, you start squeezing the idea of that bearing bigger. And it tightens that clearance up. And now all of a sudden you don't have the right clearance in there. And that's what we're seeing. We get knives in here where we'll feel the bearing's bad, we'll pull it off, and we see some of them are 6/10, 8/10. We had one in here where somebody ground, I don't know what they did. They left 12/10, 1 thou, 2/10. A thou and a quarter basically. So I don't know how the hell they beat that bearing on there, because we could barely pull it off. So the bearing never stood a chance over time. So, you know, one thing we have is we have all brand new CNC OD grinders. They're aerospace grinders. We can hold tenths all day long. So I know round is round. There's no bullshit about that. And size is important. So if your grinder's 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, which a lot of them are, as it goes in and out, there's wear on there and you can't control it. And that's why we, you know, scrapped everything we had. And I spent a fortune on beautiful grinders. I mean, they're amazing. And we can hold tolerances. The way I say, to hold a 1/10 or 2 is easy. All our mics that we measure on measure 0.5 of a thousand. So that's kind of a little bit of the story on a bearing. Now, if you have to pull a bearing off for whatever reason, it's garbage. You know, unless you're gonna put it on your kid's go-kart or something, I wouldn't put it back on a precision knife. You know, if once you pull it off, you're pulling off that outer race and it stretches the bearing. It's no longer good. And when you install a bearing, it's critical that you hit it on the inner race, nowhere else, only the inner race. Because if you hit it on the outer race, you're disturbing the clearance in there, you're stretching it. So we made tooling, and if anybody needs any of this, let me know, we'll help you out. We made tooling that holds it. You know, you saw in the video where we press them off. Pretty much we press them off and throw them out. And then this, we just made a little fixture that goes in, catches the idea of that bearing, and pretty much you just go down till you hear it cease, and you can see your retaining ring. Any more than that, you're not doing anything. But you can, well, you can't really see, but you can tell this bearing's shot, and that's the reason it came off. The other thing I'd say is, you know, just lightly wipe the dirt off if you can, the paper dust. Any more than that, you're just going to be shoving that dirt through that seal, and oil will just lubricate it to get through there. So don't do that. If you have any questions, give us a call. But that's pretty much what we see on a lot of rotary tooling. Thanks.